Good morning, welcome to Tuesday, November 22nd, 2022's meeting of the Municipal Airport Authority City of Port Park. It did, yep. First of all, can everybody hear us online and remote?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's one, good. Please keep your mics muted unless you're speaking, we appreciate that. Let's move to number one, approve the minutes of the regular meeting November 8th. Any discussion? Changes? None? Motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as published.
We have a motion, can I get a second?
I second.
Motion second, any discussion? None? Roll call.
Lynn?
Aye.
Cosgrove?
Aye.
Templeton?
Aye.
Ackerman?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to number two, approve the airport vouchers totaling $184,809.66. Motion please.
I move.
Second please.
Second.
We have a motion second, any discussion? Any discussion? None? Roll call.
Aye.
Cosgrove?
Aye.
Templeton?
Aye.
Ackerman?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to number three, individual vouchers A through F. Motion to approve.
So moved.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any discussion? None? Roll call.
Lynn?
Aye.
Cosgrove?
Aye.
Templeton?
Aye.
Ackerman?
Aye.
Aye. Moving to number four, receive bid tabulations and recommendations for the CMTA for East Terminal pathogen mitigation.
Okay, a letter was sent out yesterday from Steve Heckner from CMTA. Steve, are you on?
I am on this morning, yes.
All right, so why don't you take us through the bid opening and your recommendations?
Sure, yeah, so, as you guys recall here back, 2 months ago, we bid a larger scale portion of the project. The pricing came in very high. Since then, we scaled back the project to replace just the two oldest rooftop units that are on the building. A couple of years ago, Dan Bullis had received just only two quotes to do similar work. They were in the $70,000 range. Last week, we had invited a total of 3 contractors. VDT did not submit a bid. Peterson Mechanical and JTech did. Peterson was low at $160,800. So, double or, very close to double what previous bids had been to replace those similar units. So, given that with that high cost, especially given the scope of work and the type of unit that was being replaced, in my opinion, the pricing seemed very out of line, and my recommendation is that the bids are rejected and considered sometime in the future when the market isn't quite so volatile that we look at exploring replacing those units at that time.
All right. Do we need a motion to accept the recommendation?
Yes.
All right. Can we get a motion to accept the recommendation?
I have a question.
Yep.
So, last we had talked about this, we were worried about them failing, right? Because they were so old and decrepit and looked terrible. So, how much longer can we milk these things?
Dan?
Well, right now, so we're gonna have to put about $10,000 in each one of them to get them back up and working, where both compressors are working in them. And then that'll probably push it down about 5 years before we have to do something again.
Okay.
Hello?
Yep.
Yeah, so what Dan said is we'd have to put about $10,000 into each one of them. And once that's done, hopefully we can get another 5 years out of them. Did you copy that, Steve?
Sure, yeah, and I did copy that, yeah, I didn't hear that initially, I couldn't hear Dan initially there. Yeah, I guess that's, putting some money into some old units, but at the same point, $80,000 a unit for replacement seems, very expensive for a packaged rooftop unit that was, more or less a direct replacement, one for one.
All right. Can we get a motion to accept the consultant's opinion to reject bids?
Sure, and that's your recommendation as well?
At this point, yes.
Okay. I'll make a motion to accept the recommendation.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any discussion? None, roll call.
Lynn?
Aye.
Oscar?
Aye.
Capito?
Aye.
Heckler?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to number 5, receive update from PFM.
Okay, Brian, I see you're on. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Good morning. Well, it took some time, unfortunately. I know that was frustrating for others as well as me. We went through a number of different iterations with different custodians, trying to figure out certain things duties they would perform, and then once that was finished, we're able to get the funds invested as well. But I'm happy to report to this group and committee that the funds were invested last week. Well diversified amongst various asset classes permitted by North Dakota Century Code, Treasuries Agency, some commercial paper as well. $20 million invested. The blended yield of the total portfolio is over 4.5%. So that was very good. Sometimes paying waiting pays off, I guess. But in addition to that, just a little bit about the structure of the portfolio. We basically have it laddered out to have maturities come due quarterly out to 2 years. So $20 million, like I said, maturities will be coming due quarterly out to 2 years, and the blended yield right around 4.55%. So have to report that to this committee and board, and would answer any questions if there are any.
Anything for Brian? None? Thank you, Brian.
Thanks for the update.
Yep, thank you. You bet. Thank you.
Moving on to number 6, receive proposed contract meeting hunt for long-term parking.
Jeff is here, so this is to restore the west exit area to parking next year, as the new exit plaza opens, hopefully early 2023. This will be to put the space that's currently the west exit into the parking spaces, as we talked about here in the previous meetings.
Right, so I mean, a little history on this. Originally, this paving was gonna be part of the new exit plaza, but with obviously the late finish, this time of year, we just, came to the realization that obviously it's just really best just to separate it out and have it as an independent project. And then what it is paving basically this west exit plaza and then a strip along the southwest lot here. I don't recall exactly how many extra stalls it'll add. I had figured that out at one time, but it's over 100. So I'll find that out and report back to the authority. And then the other element that we wanted to do was just general pavement maintenance for both the short-term and long-term lots. If you go out there, especially in some of the drag lanes, you can see all the asphalt is just full of potholes. And, just for the traveling public, coming in, we just want it to be a safe road to the terminal, just do crack repairs, seal coats, that kind of thing. So that'll be incorporated.
Is there gonna be, are you gonna maintain the exit for snow removal so that can be opened up to, people you need to remove snow with a truck or anything, allowed or maintained?
Yes, there's a new exit for that very purpose on the south end adjacent to the new exit plaza.
Okay.
So. Any questions on that?
Were you gonna do, you were gonna do that additional paving there, were you gonna do some there as well? Didn't we talk about?
I guess we hadn't planned on it, so I'm
I'm
not
sure
sure.
doing this, and this. It was gonna be like 162 spots or something like that, roughly.
Well, we certainly can do that if that's not a big deal to add, but the original plan was just to do the exit plaza in the southwest lot.
Okay.
So, but if you want to add more of that, it's not gonna change really the scope of work at all, so.
It's just a general comment, it's just as many spots as we can get closer to the door. I think that would be, they behoove us to do that.
Can I get a motion to approve the proposal contract?
So then when would the paving start? When would that project
Next year in 23, so.
specifically, like April, May, June?
Oh, I guess I haven't figured that out yet, but it wouldn't be till July or at the very earliest, so.
Why so late?
Just because of, there's utility work to coordinate to get relocated. just busy contractors, waiting for the asphalt plants to open up in the springtime, load restrictions coming off, that kind of thing, so.
Typically, you have a better asphalt product if it's July, August.
Correct.
If you do it in June, you're subject to the colder weather and you don't get as good cure times.
Okay.
Asphalt typically is July, August.
Certainly, obviously be done by, holiday rush next year, so to get those spots closer.
Can you get a motion?
I so move.
Second, please.
I'll second it.
Motion and second, discussion? None? Roll call.
Britton?
Aye.
Cosgrove?
Aye.
Captain?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Number 7, receive update regarding East Economy parking lot project.
So I see there's a couple of lights put up yet.
Yeah, so where we're at right now is, Border States has, the lot is essentially functional, okay? The lights, are operational, they aren't operating right now though, just because we asked them to, turn them off. So they just have to flip the circuit breaker, we just didn't wanna give them the appearance, travelers the appearance that it is open until it's actually open. There is still, some signage left to put up, some, crosswalk signs, some wayfinding signs as you come out of the lots, saying, turn left to go back to the terminal, turn left to go to 19th Avenue. There's one sign for just directing people, showing them where the East Economy lot is. I've been told that those will be installed by Wednesday of this week. Dakota Fence is doing them. And then there's just some miscellaneous punch list work remaining as far as some seating. They have to lower an inlet, they have to do some painting, they have to correct some of the work with the bollards, that type of thing. So it's not gonna prevent the lot from being open, it just needs to be finished next year. That being said, there was a change order that the airport authority approved back in early October, I believe, or the end of September. And there are 3 completion dates, for the work, or a change of the contract completion dates. The first one was for all the paving and electrical work to be installed by the 28th of October. And the reason for that was to have basically 2 things. One is, take advantage of the weather for paving, and then to allow flash parking enough time to get the kiosks installed and up and operational. They didn't get it done until the 31st of, or they didn't have everything done by the 28th. They gave it done by the 31st, and they didn't have the wiring until later. Now, that being said, flash is out there now. It didn't, again, the lot is going to be up and operational. And then everything was supposed to be complete and ready for final payment by yesterday, the 21st of November. Obviously, that's not gonna happen because, like I said, there's all this miscellaneous punch list work to do. And then the last interim completion date was the light poles to be installed within 7 days of delivery. So that one's still open. I talked to Strata that there's 3 light poles that need to be installed, and they're scheduled to be shipped next month. So the latest I heard. So by contract, the airport authority can assess liquidated damages. They're $1,600 a day. So
But they're substantially completed and the facility is usable.
correct. Yeah. So I just don't think it's worth the fight. Personally.
Stacy, you've looked into this, and the contracts and so forth. I don't favor liquidated damages, and you can probably state why, I guess, so we have a case.
Right, so I'm looking at the contract, it does provide it for a liquidated damages clause. But it talks about damages arising from the delay in the completion, and from speaking with Sean, there isn't any financial loss as a result of the delay. And then the further on in the paragraph, it talks about any such sum which the contractor may be obligated to pay. So because there are no damages, and the airport authority can choose not to enforce the provision, I believe this board can waive those liquidated damages or not enforce this provision of the contract. Does that make sense?
The reason why we don't have any financial loss is because we have adequate parking in the existing lots. So there's no loss. Our goal is to have it open by Thanksgiving. I think that's gonna happen. So we're real close. Flash is doing that. Even more importantly is we have a hard surface now for them to park on. Outside of that, we get the roof on it, so.
We have a question.
Where they come,
Up here, yeah, we can hear it. Yeah.
where the passengers come through from the parking lot, is there gonna be a light pole there? Cause as an employee, I know people drive through there not at the speed limit. And if there's passengers coming through there and there's no light, people aren't gonna see them. Just wondering if there's something that's gonna be there.
You tell us exactly where Jeff can take a look and see if we can have one.
I believe the crosswalk is right here.
Yes.
I'm talking about that light right there, cause I'm assuming this is gonna stay open.
Yes.
So you're gonna have employees coming down there probably 40 miles an hour. Just saying,
Having a street light or the warning light?
just something that you can see the pedestrians. That's what I'm asking.
There will be crosswalk signs, big square or diamond shaped crosswalk signs.
Rich is the manager for United Ground Express here, so.
We'll take a look at it.
Thank you. Do we need to move today whether we waive liquidated damages or wait?
I would, I know the things that they have left are seeding and painting and things that they can't do until next spring, so there would be a time extension until probably May, June first, something of that.
Yeah, they had asked for a 1 month time extension past the date that load restrictions are lifted. So, and I'll also add, there's still, Airport Authority still has the ability to hold retainage on the project, the payment, final payment won't be made until next year at least.
I think the fact that it's substantially completed and they're limited by supply with respect to the lighting, the substantial completion has been agreed to, I think. I would agree that we probably should give them that time frame.
Mr. Chairman, the only thing I've always hated liquidated damages, because if you include them at the bid point, they tend to build in a cushion to pay liquidated damages if they don't hit the completion dates, and so. And then when you waive them on the backside, you've sort of paid for them on both ends, and so we might want to consider, and especially with the way that these are written, that you have to prove monetary damages. Most times liquidated damages just are fixed things, so you don't have to litigate over those type of things. So I just going forward, we really want to probably consider if we're going to put liquidated damages in, and know that's probably going to increase the bids across the board because the contractors will anticipate some cushion for that. So if we put them in, we should understand here.
That's a good point.
That's for the purpose of this though, and moving forward with it, could I get a motion to accept the extension?
I will move that.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? None? Roll call.
Lehman,
Aye.
Cosgrove,
Aye.
Captain,
Aye.
Heckman,
Aye.
Hingham.
Aye.
Thank you.
So we do your other projects, you have on security system?
Airport construction.
Honestly, I don't know, Darren probably has a better handle on it than I do. I know they started doing some work in the interior zoning here over the last few weeks, doing camera installations and everything, proceeding. We have a meeting with Sun Electric after this authority meeting here this morning, so, but yeah, it's proceeding.
Right, Terry.
Terry, you're on.
All right, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Darren, can I share my screen?
Stand by.
Depends what he's gonna put up there.
Alright, got it?
Terry, I think you can share on your end.
Can I share now? Okay. You see that?
Nope.
There you go.
Yep.
Okay, so, things are going, well at the exit plaza. These are some pictures just from yesterday. As you can see, they finished the sheeting and also the waterproofing on the outside of the building. They are gonna be, starting, they evidently couldn't finish the roof last week because it was so windy. So, they're gonna try to get at it this week. They're gonna be insulating the interior this week and working on mechanical systems. Gretchen told me that they're really trying hard to get a CO by the end of the year, and basically that's to get flash parking in there and let them occupy the space to get their systems in place and stuff like that. So still probably talking about closer to the middle of January for a full occupation, but I think they're doing well, so.
Any questions for Terry?
There's one other component of the project, and you can see it in the bottom right picture. As you exit the lot, there's signage above each exit lane that says open, closed, or there's a message that you can put on there. The contract required that to be by owner, so the airport authority, so that's a separate project from this. And Darren's been working with, or Gregory Pearson from SB Plus has some quotes now from Daktronics, that's who they work with nationwide. And they're about $6,000 per sign to put up above each of the exit lanes. And then in Terry's design, there was our logo would be on each side of the building. That's another separate project, and I'm not quite sure where we get the logo, probably from 3D or Dakota Fence, something like that. So that is in process, but the airport authority is responsible for the signage above each exit lane.
And that's within our buying policy, so you can just do that
Yes.
without the board, okay?
So, but they are making progress, so. That's really the update. I don't know if there's anything else. The baseboard was put in at the security checkpoint last week, and I don't know, there's a couple of other punch list items yet on the security checkpoint. Are they doing something with window frames, Darren? But there's some minor things that we're still working with the contractor on there, but I think that covers that.
Do we have an anticipated functioning opening date for this?
Mid-January.
Mid-January.
Outdoor ribbon cutting,
Yeah.
Dedication ceremony.
lots of speakers.
Other things, I see Lieutenant Colonel Ames is on from the Guard. Are you still there? Or did he drop off? Okay, he dropped off.
I'm here.
Okay, I don't know if you have any updates from the Guard. Lieutenant Colonel Lind and I accompanied a large group from the chamber out to the National Guard Association function in DC last week. We had almost 20 people with us. Good event. We met with the North Dakota and Minnesota delegations, feedback, people from the US Chamber, update on the Veterans Cemetery out here from Mike Quinn. So that was really good thing. I don't know, Eric, if you have anything to add.
No, it was a great function. Getting to meet with the congressional delegation was very informative, and I think we made some good relationships there and got our desire for backing for the terminal expansion.
So the delegation is fully on board with our terminal project. I've kept in touch with their staffs, members that are responsible for FAA funding, and they're fully teed up to assist us to get as much federal funding as we can. So, our next meeting is going to be on December 20th, outside of the 2nd and 4th thing, because I'm traveling to the air show we mentioned, and Flint Communications will give the 2022 marketing recap and the 2023 marketing plan. As you're aware, this is the final year of the 3-year program that we have for our media, the TV, the radio, and so forth, so we'll be coming with a new marketing plan for us for 2023. And then Meet and Hunt will be here in person, and they will conduct a visioning exercise that's gonna take probably a half hour to 40 minutes, where they put images on the screen and you all tell them if you like what you see, which I think helps to identify how the interior of the expansion and maybe the existing terminal will be, the color codings and all of those things. They briefly mentioned that during the terminal area study.
Brandon's on it.
Okay, Brandon, do you wanna just give us a highlight of what we'll be doing at the December 20th meeting?
Yes, good morning, everybody. So visual preference survey, it will be interior and exterior. We'll be just showing you a slideshow of different images, and we just want to get your initial reaction to them. You know, like it's too dark, too light, you know, just, and we'll take note of all that, and that'll be an initial round of input as we develop design concepts. So exterior and interior, and we also reached out to the media group to have them do a media blast, social media blast out to the public to invite them to participate as well.
Thank you for that. Senator Wars, I see that you joined. Do you have an update on your hangar, or you have maybe had some comments on the passenger terminal expansion as well?
Yes, thank you, Sean. The update on my hangar is as a result of parts not being available until March, we pretty much iced everything on that until spring. Because the overhead door that we're proposing to put in there is not even available or won't be manufactured until after the first of the year. So we did just slow things down on that, and we'll re-engage in spring on that. So hopefully everything's okay. If you get calls regarding blind siding or something like that, please just give me a shout and we'll get somebody up there and screw something back on to keep it intact until we can remove all that stuff next spring and put a decent finish back on. Sean, I think he queued me up because I did share with Sean when we were in Washington to think big as it relates to our major renovation and expansion of our airport. It's such an important part of our community, and the first image that people get is at the airport when business people and travelers come to town. And I just think that now's an opportunity to revisit that as well as refresh our image as a community. I mentioned, if you think about Bismarck's new airport, Minot's new airport, Water City's new airport, they're major statements. And I think just be aware of that as you go down through this process of your due diligence and think big. So I really think our airport is dated. It obviously needs a refresh, and be aware of how important this is to our community. So that's my only comment. Sean, thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak. I was just listening in this morning to see if there was anything that was happening on South GA. The other thing, probably a comment about our trip to Washington. It was again one of those trips that we made a huge statement to our congressional leadership as the fact that we from Cass County and Clay County, we are standing ready to engage in whatever it is that the community asks of us. And having our first name relationships or with our congressional delegation and our lobbyists out there is hugely important to us for the needs of our community. So it was a great show. Other communities had 3 and 5 people that showed up, and we showed up with 20 plus. It was great. So thank you two guys for taking your time also.
Okay, the final 2 things. The Fargo Planning Commission is, as part of their hearing on December 6th, will look at the rezoning of the property just north of the airport that we call the Kilfoyle Farm, but it's Dakota Air Parks. Some addition, let's see here. We have it on the ground here. Doesn't quite go far enough north. There's another one behind it. Okay, we try and find it there somewhere. Yeah. Well, nonetheless, it's basically, this parcel right here is owned by Barb and Casey McCon. In the corner, they're gonna rezone that to build a large storage hangar that supports the Dakota Airport's operation down in the South GA down there. Stacy and I will work with the city, and we believe there's already a proximity agreement in place on the property for the storage hangar, but that's coming up. The main message that I want to mention it to you is that I met with the engineering department, Darren and I did here last week. This will trigger improvements by the city. Sidewalk, curb and gutter, street lights. It's gonna go way overboard than what this little parcel up here needs, so I'm not quite sure what's gonna happen. The city of Fargo owns this parcel right here, and then there's other private ownership out in the other parcels there, but it's gonna trigger a full improvement or special assessments, all of that stuff, which they can special assess our property to the east and to the south. The guard will probably pay their share, but they have to put into deferral anything that's assessed on the east property because it's in a no building. You can't build anything there, so there's no immediate benefit. So just to let you know that that's coming. The final thing is Brian Page at Mead and Hunt is working on our airport concession disadvantaged business enterprise program and the goal. And sometime in December, we're gonna host a consultation meeting for any interested disadvantaged business enterprises in the area that wanna participate in any type of airport project or concession opportunity that could come forth. And this is to keep us in compliance with the DBE program through the FAA. So that's all I have. Unless you have any questions.
So
Anything for the good of the order?
when Brandon was saying that there's gonna be a social media rollout to present the potential interior and exteriors?
Yeah, that's to invite them here to our board meeting on the 20th.
On the
So
20th.
hopefully we have enough room in this room to accommodate that.
Okay.
Yes, that'll be on the 20th. So plan on about a half hour, 40 minutes for the exercise.
Okay.
Anything else for the good of the order?
I'm sorry. I wanted to mention that will be available online as well. So as part of the social media blast, we'll note that they can call in and see the slideshow as well.
Perfect.
And then one more thing on the new parking lot, the East Economy lot, when do you expect to have people parking in there, and how much is it gonna be per day? Just for anybody watching.
9 per day to match the East Economy lot, the West Economy lot, so it'll be at 9. And Flint is putting together a press release on that to let people know that it's gonna be open and available, along with notification on our social media, and then our website will be updated to show that as a parking option once it's fully operational. So those wheels are in motion as well.
Okay.
I'm hoping it could be by Thanksgiving, but maybe it's gonna float into next week, we'll see. But
Right, yeah, everything is contingent upon Flash getting the kiosks operational.
Yeah.
And I did see him out there this morning when I arrived, so,
I were up there late yesterday too, they're working.
okay. Excited for that.
Nothing, meeting adjourned?